Darwinex Zero provides traders with the opportunity to receive seed capital and investment capital. Because we want you to succeed, the Darwinex Zero platform also provides a wealth of intelligence to traders about their strategy, including key information to identify strengths and weaknesses that they can then use to improve their own performance and rankings. And if their performance increases, so too will the opportunities to attract even more investment. These metrics also provide essential information to third-party investors when they're choosing their next investment. Let's take a closer look. You can get access to all this information on the My Darwin tab here. The Signal Account tab provides metrics for the actual source trades executed by the trader within their own account. So often this will be their MT4 or MT5 account. Only the trader who owns the strategy can see this, which is why it's greyed out like this for other users. These other four tabs, however, provide metrics for the risk-adjusted Darwin that are based on the Signal account, and these are all publicly viewable. Why are they publicly viewable? It's because these metrics are not only valuable to the trader of the strategy, third-party investors also need to see these metrics in order to make their own investment decisions. Remember that once you reach DarwinIA Gold, your Darwin can start to attract third-party investment in addition to the seed capital allocations provided by Darwinex. So produce good solid metrics in these areas and you can expect to catch the eye of investors, increasing your own opportunities to grow as a strategy provider. In this video, I'll be taking a closer look at the Return over Risk tab. At the top of the page, we see the return chart, giving a visual indication of the return and drawdown characteristics of the Darwin. You can select the range that you want to view, and also choose whether you want to view it as a line chart or as candles. With candles, you have the additional choice of the candle duration. This chart, of course, will be of great importance to investors who will be looking for good growth but with well-managed risk indicated by small drawdowns. Next, you'll see the history of cumulative DarwinIA allocations. These are the monetary values that have been allocated by Darwinex to this Darwin based on its performance in past editions of DarwinIA. And remember that for any profit the trader makes on these allocations, they get to keep 15% of that for themselves. Note that the range of this chart aligns with the range of the equity chart, so that a trader can see exactly how good performance in their equity curve aligns with new allocations achieved. If you're more of a numbers person, you can see the return broken down month by month for the whole duration that the Darwin has existed in this panel here, and also see an overall running total of the return year by year here. In the Statistics panel, you'll find some basics such as the annualized return, maximum drawdown and daily standard deviation, but also some key industry standard performance measures such as the Sharpe and Sortino ratios. And it's these industry standards that investors will also be very interested in, because it's these that will allow them to compare a potential investment in your Darwin with other external investment opportunities that also report using these same metrics. The ATH quote here is the quote at the time of the Darwin's all-time high, and you can compare this with the current quote here at the top, and also see how many days it's been since the all-time high was recorded, and the return since then, which of course will always either be negative or zero. For the statisticians amongst you, we also provide the skewness and kurtosis of the return distribution, but I'll come back to these in a moment after looking at a visual representation of that return distribution here underneath. This can be viewed using days or weeks and provides the number of times different profit and loss percentages have occurred. For example, here we can see that there have been 57 days with a return between 0 and 0.48%. The size of the buckets on this chart are automatically adjusted to best represent the range of return values. Now, you'll remember from a moment ago that the skewness and kurtosis statistics were provided in the panel above. These relate to this distribution, where the skewness is a measure of symmetry, or more precisely the lack of symmetry in the distribution, while the kurtosis is a measure of whether the data is heavily tailed or light-tailed relative to a normal distribution. Moving on to the next section, this is interesting. It provides the best and worst moments in the Darwin's history. This can be viewed in terms of days, weeks or months, and will give potential investors a better idea of what they could expect if they invested in this Darwin, both in terms of best case and worst case scenarios. Finally, we have the drawdown analysis panel. This gives a representation of instantaneous drawdown figures for the entire history of the Darwin. If the chart is currently at the 0 level, this means that the Darwin is at 0 drawdown, or in other words, is making a new high. The deeper the curve, the more severe the drawdown from the previous all-time high. By selecting specific drawdown periods here on the left, these get highlighted on the chart, enabling you to see exactly where they occurred in the history. So a wealth of information is provided on this tab, both for the trader themselves, but also any prospective investors in the future. And remember that when a Darwin reaches the DarwinIA Gold tier, in addition to attracting seed capital from Darwinex, it also then opens up to third-party investment, making further investment a reality. In the next video, I'll be looking at the Assets and Timeframes tab. If that's already available, you'll see a link on screen now. And you can find a link to all Darwinex Zero videos in this video's description. And to make sure you get all the latest news and updates on Darwinex Zero, don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts as shown.